In this video, we'll see the various navigation styles possible that this tool offers for navigating between the main menu and the screens that invoke one another, in addition to the way in which the style desired is to be set up. The navigation styles we'll be considering are Flip, Split, Slide, and Cascade. Depending on the features of the device, the operating system, its size, and device type, we may want to vary the way in which the user interacts, and in particular, the way in which the user navigates through our app. To make this possible, GeneXus offers the navigation style property that enables us to change this behavior at the platform level. It's important to point out that we may only define one navigation style in our application for each possible combination of the features. The values we will have available will vary according to each platform. On screen, we see an example for an iPad, and we have possibilities for Cascade, Slide, Flip, and Split. In this case, they're all the ones available with GeneXus. But if we consider the case of an iPhone, we'll see that we only have Cascade, Slide, and Flip, and we don't have Split because this value is only available for tablets, iPad, or Android. In the case of an Android phone, we will only have Slide and Flip, and the rest is not available because not all devices support all types of navigation. We'll be considering each of them and the differences between them. In the Flip navigation style, when we access a screen, either from the main menu or from any other one, the new content will replace the previous content. Conceptually, the area of the device will be only one, and all the content will be shown occupying the same area, which will be replaced in every call. This is the default value in telephones, and it is, in fact, the one we've been using so far in the application. With Split, the content may be displayed in two sectors, one on the left and the main sector for the content. Additionally, in iOS, we may have a sector occupying the lower band on screen. Using Work With for smart devices, the list is automatically displayed to the left, and the detail screens on the main sector known as Content Area, in the case of landscape orientation, as in the image shown on the left. For the case of portrait orientation, the left sector turns into an upper sector, and the content is deployed below it, as shown on the right. This is the navigation style predetermined for tablets in Android and iOS. Programmatically, we may indicate that an object be displayed in any of these sectors using the call options properties that we'll see in detail further ahead. With the Slide navigation style, we can always have the main menu available, either by sliding our finger from left to right, or with the hamburger button on the upper left. So, regardless of the depth where we're navigating within the app, we may always access another option with just one step from the menu. The first menu option is loaded automatically in the content area. Later, we'll see how to customize this. Additionally, when we call a new object from the content sector, it's displayed in the same way, maintaining the stack of calls, with the possibility of returning to the previous one with back. But when we go to another option, the stack of calls is reinitiated. Conceptually, we have the content and right sectors available to deploy content. The left sector will always contain the initial object, which may be a menu for smart devices or a panel for smart devices. We may open objects in the right region of the content or programmatically in the lower region with the invocation options and the navigation API. The lower sector is available and valid for iOS. In the Cascade style, the screen is divided into up to 4 sectors going from left to right. This style is only available for iOS platforms, and it's valid for phones and for tablets. The different screens open up in Cascade from left to right on the device, up to the 4th level. When the last level is reached, a replace starts and the option of going back is available in that case. For the case of the work with for smart devices, starting from the left, we will have the main menu, then the list in the middle, and the detail as the third sector. From the detail, we have the chance of opening another screen, and from there, if we call another screen, it'll occupy the same sector as the last one. As in the slide style, the stack of calls is reset when we select another item from the menu. And now we'll see a short demo in GeneXus. When we open the emulator, we see that we have our applications menu, where the default navigation style is for an Android phone is flip. The screens are loaded on the only screen we have. So we go to GeneXus, and we specify that the app will use the slide navigation style. So this menu will be always available from the left. If we go to Android, we will see that it has the navigation styles that it's indicating. In this case, the default, also an Android phone, is flip. We have the slide, default, and flip options for the case of Android phone. If we look at any Android, the values available are slide, default, and flip as an Android phone. For the case of 10-inch Android tablets, we have slide, default, flip, and split. This one is new because it's only available for tablets. And, for example, in the case of iPad, we will see that we also have Cascade as a value that was not available in the other ones. And we have slide, flip, and split just like in Android. So we go to Android phone, and we indicate the slide value, and then we just run the app. Note that we already have the menu that was opened when we clicked on the hamburger icon. The first option is Work with Countries, so it opens up by default. If we access Speakers, there we reset the call stack, and we can slide from the left to the center of the screen to deploy the menu. We may want to call a different object of the first option in the menu when the application's open for the first time. So how do we do that? Let's go back to the introduction. We have some events that we may program at the main object level, which in our case is a menu for smart devices, though it could be a panel for smart devices, for example. The events are these here: slide, split, cascade, flip, and tabs.start. So we may have a start event associated with each navigation style. Then, if we program, for example, slide.start, and the application is being executed for an iPad with Cascade navigation style, the event will not be executed for that platform. It will only be executed for the slide navigation style. In our application, we may create a panel for smart devices called Today Panel, including an image, so that the panel will only be executed in the start event of the slide navigation style and only in that case. Now let's go back to GeneXus to implement this. We'll create a panel with the name Today Panel, where we will show in our application information related to the day of the event. For the time being, we'll just include an image. Today Panel then, and we insert an image. The image already exists in the KB under the name GX28 image. We'll associate the class image welcome Now in the main table, we'll indicate 180 dips for the row, and we'll change the class in the table. We'll use table. We'll record this object, and now we go to event day. First, we take it to panels so that we have it organized. We go to event day, and in the events, we add a new event called slide.start. And here we do the call to Today panel. Okay, and now we're ready. So we now close the event, we save, and we run the application. Now here, at the start, instead of the work with, it should show the panel we've created, that is, Today panel, as the default option of our application. And this should be without the need for it to be a menu option. And indeed, Today panel opens up, showing us the image, and we have the menu available. So now we go back to the presentation. Now let's review what we've seen in the 4 navigation styles and the differences between them. For Flip, we saw that the content takes up the whole screen and that the new content shown replaces the previous content. It's the default for telephones. For the case of Split, we saw that there are several sectors, 2 for Android and 3 for the case of iOS. The setting adjusts the orientation. It's default for tablets, and to access the right or the bottom sectors, we must use call options, which we'll see later on. In the case of Slide, we saw that the menu is always available, and we have a special icon to show it, usually referred to as a hamburger icon due to the 3 horizontal lines that comprise it. We may also access the menu by sliding our finger from the left border of the screen. With Slide, the first menu option opens up in a predetermined manner, and we will also have an independent navigation in the various menu options because the call stack is reset. For Cascade, we saw that it's only available for iOS, in telephones and tablets. Here, the menu is also available at all times, and as in the case of Slide, the call stack is also reset between one menu option and another menu option. We saw that it's possible to show up to 4 levels, 3 plus the menu. And this will be the end of this topic.